Alright, this is a how to find video. Something interesting in the Mattatuck Forest. And we're going to take you to the remains of Ebenezer Richards' house, which was built probably sometime in the 1760s, and now it's in the middle of nowhere. And there's a little bit of a story that goes along with it. So let's go. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're on Park Road. And down that way would be Thomaston Road or Route 6. And in order to find the attraction we're taking you to today, you need to go up this little side road. Now this looks like it's a private driveway, but it isn't. It's an access road that belongs to the state of Connecticut that takes you to the Mattatuck Forest. So look for these two houses on Park Road and then go right up between there. We'll see how a Volkswagen Jetta does on a dirt road.
You got it in a four-wheel.
And then you get up here and you feel like you're driving in Vermont. And there's a little parking area up here for about 4 or 5, 6 cars. And that's where we're going to park. Alright, after you park your car, we're going to head on down this trail. There's a yellow mark on the tree there. And so let's go. Alright, we're walking down this straight path that leads from the parking area. And, well, it's pretty straight anyway. I'm here with my buddy Frank Rinaldi. We go back to high school. And Frank doesn't seem to remember how I stole all his girlfriends away from him back then.
Only the good-looking ones.
Yeah, that's the kind of way I remember it. Anyway, we're in the Mattatuck Forest, which was created in the 1920s, and it wasn't even a forest. All these trees had been, or all the trees had been cut down. The whole landscape had been stripped. Most of it is rocky and ledgy and not good for farming. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to our destination here today. The Mattatuck Forest has a number of attractions for hikers. Leatherman's Cave. We made a video of that, how to find the Leatherman's Cave, I don't know, a couple of years ago. It's on YouTube, and it's called How to Find the Leatherman's Cave in Watertown, Connecticut. But there's also the
waterfall. There's
a waterfall.
If you follow this path straight.
There's the grave of Joseph Scott, who was killed by the Indians in 1706. They cut his tongue out. That we don't really give the directions to because we're kind of keeping that under wraps for now. But there's a lot of great trails out here. And there's even a, what is that, a Jeep? A Grand Cherokee?
A Cherokee.
Yeah, okay, somebody drove apparently a stolen Jeep Cherokee way into the woods. We can't figure out how they even did it. But since then, people have been there stripping parts off of it. And I won't mention any names. But yeah, there's all kinds of stuff to do out here. Okay, we've been walking for about 3 minutes. There's a tree with another yellow mark on it. And if you continue on this trail, it takes you down to Route 8. And that's not where we want to go. You're going to come to this, it's really a triangle, sort of an island. And where the trail curves to the right, we're going to take the lesser trail, which goes to the left. So let's do that now. Alright, when you get to a little turn again, that's something to go by. There's a big ledge off to the left, but you can see where the triangle comes across here, and you basically want to bear to the left. And it's not as complicated as it seems.
You're on the blue trail now.
Yeah, alright, that makes sense.
Right on the tree here.
Okay, there's a blue marking on the tree. Well, where would I be without you, Frank?
I don't know, Charlie. I've lost an airhead.
Alright, we're going underneath some trees. A lot of trees fell down in October, I don't know, what was last year or the year before. And, but people come through here with clippers and some saws and try to keep the paths usable. Okay, you're continuing along on the blue trail. And I just said how people clear out the brush and trees when they fall down. Well, much to my surprise, a tree fell down here and there it is. What you want to do is you want to take a right here onto a trail, you really can't see it because of this big fallen tree. If you continue on and this trail starts to climb, then you've gone too far. But there's a right off of this little blue trail, and so we're going to kind of go around all this mess, and that's where we want to be. Okay, after the fallen tree, when you get on this trail, you're going to see a little campfire. It's just another indication to tell you you are headed in the right direction.
To the right.
Just keep going, and you'll see it drops off here to the left.
And then to the right.
And then it'll circle around.
To the right.
Oh, shut up.
You shut up.
I'm so sick of you.
Sick of you too.
Yeah, oh, I'm glad I stole all your girlfriends. All right, for some reason somebody built what looks like something from the Blair Witch Project right in the middle of the trail. So we're going to go around that. And I don't know if this will still be here when you visit, but maybe somebody can explain why somebody built this too. But anyway, we're going to go. Okay, after that little roadblock, you'll see it turn. It does drop off to the right. And, well, what can I say? Just keep going. You're almost there. Okay, and by the way, people take these videos and they watch them on their smartphones, and it kind of guides them all the way through the process. You can find the Leatherman's Cave, and in this case we are looking for Ebenezer Richards' old homestead, which is more interesting than it probably sounds at the moment. But here you have a kind of a sweeping curve, and what we're going to do is when we get to the end of this trail, that's where the site is that we're headed for. Alright, again, there's some stuff that has fallen into the trail, and it's always changing out here, so good luck with that. But we're going to continue on, and it's not quite as clearly recognizable of a trail, but we're still marking. Okay, you continue on the trail, and it just comes up to this big tree, and it ends.
Just past the tree.
And you can see already behind the tree is our destination, and I'm going to tell you the whole history of it, as much as we know anyways. And this was built probably sometime in the 1860s maybe. And this is the foundation of the home of a guy named Ebenezer Richards. And you know, if you look at the rocks, I mean, that's a pretty impressive little bit of quarrying that went on here, because these are not just rocks dug up out of the ground and placed there. So that tree is going to come into play in just a second. I'm going to tell you the history of it. Alright, in 1896, Joseph Anderson wrote a history of Waterbury, and because Watertown was once part of Waterbury, he included this area. And this is what he wrote. He said, "For some reason, Ebenezer Richards chose this place for a house site. There is little now to indicate that the locality was ever inhabited. Nature has grown her trees over all the clearings that must have existed when Ebenezer owned the place." I'm ad-libbing a little bit here. Richards was born in 1731 and he died in 1801. He was a man of gigantic proportions, and when he died it was found that the only way to get his body out of the house once it was ready for burial was to remove the doors and the casings. And that's pretty much what we know. Now, Anderson might have had his date of birth wrong. I think it was March 16th, 1732. He died January 12th, 1812. He was, 1801. He was 68 years old. And he left some descendants. For example, well, his mother was born in 1699. But anyway, the question here is, back when this was all wilderness, this was not a really great place to build much of anything. The land is rocky and ledgy, and really wasn't good for farming. It's sort of on the eastern slope, so that it didn't get much sunshine past midday. And so I don't know how successful old Ebenezer was as a farmer, but apparently he was here for the duration of his life. Anderson also mentioned in his book that there was a tree growing in the foundation, or near the foundation. And so that would have been 1896, and there's the tree today. And they don't get that fat when they're growing up in a wooded area. They just get really tall. But throughout the area there's stone walls, and you can see them off in the distance there. And there's some more man-made wall of some kind up there. There's also some foundation for what we would call outbuildings, which would have been barns and maybe even an outhouse. So here we are at Ebenezer Richards. Well, we're in his cellar actually. And just one of the interesting sites here in the Mattatuck Forest in Watertown, Connecticut. And seeing how I can't think of anything else I want to add to all this, I think I'll stop talking now. I don't know if this will show up, but we'll give you the longitude and latitude. Maybe.